For a decade, Tesla was not just a car company. It was the company that made every legacy automaker look slow, boring, and out of touch. It turned Elon Musk into the richest man on Earth. It made the word Tesla and the words electric car basically the same thing.
The point of Tesla is to accelerate the advent of electric vehicles.
But something has broken. In 2024, Tesla posted its first ever annual sales decline. In 2025, it happened again, the steepest drop in the history of the company. By the end of that year, Tesla had lost the title it invented. BYD, the Chinese company Musk used to laugh at, was now selling more electric cars than Tesla worldwide.
And as you're familiar with BYD, which is also on the West Coast, I think they're ramping up production of their electric vehicles. Warren Buffett owns 10% stake in that. Why do you laugh? BYD is trying to compete. Why do you laugh?
Have you seen their car?
So how does the company that built the entire EV category end up getting lapped by a rival most Americans still cannot place on a map? And why did it happen right as the Tesla stock hit an all-time high? Those two facts do not belong in the same story. That is exactly why this one is worth telling. That is exactly why I created this channel, to talk about the things people get wrong because they only look at the headline number, not what is underneath it. I have spent years watching how companies in Asia out-execute Silicon Valley, while nobody in the West is paying attention. So if you want the real picture, subscribe. You will not get this breakdown anywhere else. Start with the plain numbers. Tesla delivered 1.81 million vehicles in 2023, its peak. In 2024, deliveries fell. In 2025, they fell again, down to 1.64 million, a decline of almost 9% in a single year, the worst annual drop the company has ever posted. The breakdown by region is where it gets brutal. In Europe, sales collapsed 28%. In Germany, 48%. In France, 38%. Germany was supposed to be a stronghold. Instead, it's turned into one of the worst markets on the planet for Tesla. In China, the market Tesla helped legitimize for electric vehicles in the first place, sales hit a 3-year low. And in the United States, once the federal EV tax credit disappeared, the artificial demand that had been propping up the numbers disappeared with it. Underneath the delivery numbers, the financials are worse than they look. Operating income dropped 66% year over year in early 2025, with operating margin collapsing to just over 2%. Automotive revenue for 2025 fell 10%. This is not a company having a slow quarter. This is a 2-year structural decline in the actual car business. And the pattern did not stop in 2025. In the first quarter of 2026, deliveries fell again, down 14% from the prior quarter, and the Tesla stock recorded its steepest drop of the year on the news. Wall Street had been expecting a rebound. Instead, analyst forecasts for the full year now sit at only a 3% increase, which would barely make up for 2 straight years of decline. This is not a company climbing back. It is a company still falling, just more slowly. So what happened? A company that once had no real competition somehow ended up losing ground everywhere at once. Europe, China, even at home. There are 3 reasons, and only one of them is Elon Musk. For years, the advantage Tesla had was not really about the car itself. It was that nobody else could build a good electric car at scale. That stopped being true. BYD overseas sales alone surpassed 1 million vehicles in 2025, up 150% from the year before. In Thailand, the 5 best-selling EV brands are now all Chinese. While BYD was releasing new models built around a cheaper battery chemistry, Tesla was still selling a lineup where 2 models, the Model 3 and the Model Y, made up 97% of everything delivered in a quarter. That is the part that should worry Tesla investors more than any single bad quarter. Tesla promised an affordable car, priced under $25,000 years ago. It never shipped. Instead, that engineering effort got redirected into autonomous vehicles. Meanwhile, the Cybertruck, The one genuinely new vehicle Tesla launched in this entire period still is not a volume product 2 years after launch. Model S, Model X, and Cybertruck combined accounted for about 11,000 deliveries in a quarter, where the company moved over 400,000 cars total. Put simply, while BYD spent 5 years building out a full lineup at every price point, Tesla spent 5 years with the same 2 cars and a truck that still has not found its market. Compare that to the age of the lineup itself. The Model 3 launched in 2017. The Model Y launched in 2020. Both cars are now years into their life cycle in an industry where Chinese manufacturers are refreshing their lineups every 12 to 18 months. Tesla did give the Model Y a mid-cycle refresh, but that refresh ended up causing part of the production slowdown that hurt deliveries in the first place, forcing the company to pause output across all 4 of its factories just to make the update happen. Even the attempt to modernize the lineup ended up shrinking sales in the short term. This is the part that does not show up in a spreadsheet, but it is arguably the biggest factor of all. In early 2025, when Musk took on a prominent role in the Trump administration running the Department of Government Efficiency, the backlash did not stay political. It landed directly on the cars sitting in driveways across the country. Tesla dealerships were shot at in Oregon. Charging stations were set on fire outside Boston. Cybertrucks were spray-painted with swastikas in Manhattan, an incident the New York police investigated as a hate crime. The FBI created a dedicated task force to track arson and gunfire attacks on Tesla property nationwide. None of this was Tesla engineering. None of it was about range or software. It was the politics of the chief executive, physically redirected at the product. The vandalism was not limited to spray paint. Reports describe gasoline bombs thrown at Tesla showrooms and attacks on charging stations, a backlash that had moved from online anger into physical violence. The Department of Justice treated it as a serious federal matter, filing arson and property damage charges against multiple defendants across several states, including a man accused of pouring gasoline over 3 vehicles at an Arizona dealership and setting them on fire. Whatever your view of the politics behind it, the business reality was simple. Every one of those incidents made national news, and every headline reinforced the same message to a potential buyer that this car now comes with baggage. An industry analyst who has covered Tesla with a bearish view for years put it bluntly, saying nobody wants to spend that kind of money on a car only to have it vandalized. Whether or not that is fair to the people who just wanted an electric car, the effect on demand was real, and it landed hardest in exactly the markets, Europe and the United States coasts, where Tesla used to be strongest. If you are getting value from this, hit subscribe. This is the kind of story that gets buried because most coverage of Tesla is either fan content or outrage content. Nobody is actually tracking the numbers underneath. That is what this channel does. Here is the official story Tesla once told. The car business is a distraction now. The real company is autonomy and robotics. The robotaxi, the cybercab, the Optimus robot. Musk has openly redirected engineering resources in that direction, even ending production of the Model S and the Model X to convert that factory line to build Optimus units instead. And Wall Street has bought it. The Tesla stock hit an all-time high in December 2025. The same month car sales were falling for the 2nd year running. The company remains the most valuable automaker on Earth, priced not on how many cars it sells today, but on a bet about robots and driverless taxis tomorrow. Paid robotaxi rides did begin in Austin back in June 2025, but a bet is not a business. The affordable car got delayed repeatedly in favor of this pivot, and the product Tesla actually needs people to trust with their lives is the same one that has been dogged by recalls. The Cybertruck alone has been recalled at least 11 separate times since its launch in 2023, 10 recalls through early 2026, plus a wheel stud recall reported that May. One of those recalls covered a stainless steel body panel that could detach and become a projectile on the highway. The most recent involved wheel studs that could crack under hard cornering, risking loss of vehicle control. In 2025 alone, safety filings show at least 115,912 Cybertrucks were covered by recall campaigns, the largest annual recall footprint the model has had. And the Cybertruck is not an isolated case. In 2024 alone, Tesla recalled more vehicles than any other automaker in the country, 5.1 million in total, ahead of Ford in second place. Most of those were fixed with a simple remote software update, which sounds reassuring until you remember that a defect serious enough to trigger a federal recall does not become less serious just because the fix arrives over the air. So the story underneath the official one is this: Tesla is asking the public to trust it with full autonomy at the exact moment its most visible new product cannot reliably keep its wheels attached. None of this means Tesla is finished. It is still the most valuable car company on the planet. It still has real engineering advantages in software and charging infrastructure that took a decade to build. But the myth that carried Tesla for 15 years, the idea that it simply had no real competitors and could do no wrong, is dead. BYD proved the competition could be built faster and cheaper. The brand backlash proved that the reputation of a car company is not immune to the choices of its chief executive. And the recall record proves that speed without quality control eventually catches up with you. There is a version of this where the bet pays off, where the robotaxi network scales the way Musk has promised for a decade, and the car business becomes a footnote in a much bigger robotics company. But promises about full self-driving have missed their own deadlines before, going back nearly a decade, when full autonomy was supposed to be just a year away. Investors are pricing in the version where this time is different. The people cross-shopping electric cars in Bangkok, Berlin, and Sao Paulo are pricing in the version where it is not, and right now, they are choosing BYD. The bigger pattern here is not really about Tesla. It is about what happens when a company that built its identity on disruption stops being the disruptor and becomes the incumbent that everyone else is now disrupting. 20 years ago, that was a problem for Detroit. Today, it is a problem for Tesla. Tomorrow, it will be whoever is betting everything on robots and autonomy without a car business healthy enough to fund the bet. If you have seen this shift happening in your own industry, the disruptor turning into the target, drop a comment and tell me what you are watching. I read them all. And if this is the kind of story you want more of, subscribe. That is exactly why I created this channel, to show you what is actually happening underneath the headline, not just repeat it. See you in the next video.